Now you gonna play this Marine War hero. What you got when you get back here, huh?
I too was a Marine, and I served my country proudly in World War II. A real war. These cutting words from a judge echo through the climax of 1995's Dead Presidents, delivering one of cinema's most brutal gut punches about how America treated its Black Vietnam veterans. But what most viewers missed was that this devastating speech wasn't Hollywood fiction. It was adapted almost word for word from an actual 1972 court transcript. Welcome to Prime Time Throwback, where today we're uncovering the shocking true story behind one of the most misunderstood crime films of the 90s. The Hughes Brothers' gritty portrait of a Black Marine's descent from Vietnam, horror to post-war desperation. What if I told you this film was never supposed to be about a bank heist at all? The real Anthony Curtis. While most viewers assumed Dead Presidents was pure fiction, Larenz Tate's character, Anthony Curtis, was heavily based on a real Vietnam veteran named Haywood T. Kirkland, who later became known as Sekou Odinga. The film's most shocking moments, from the trauma in Vietnam to the desperate bank robbery, were pulled directly from Kirkland's actual life experiences. The Hughes Brothers, fresh off their breakout success with Menace II Society, originally intended to make a very different film. Their initial vision wasn't focused on the heist at all, but exclusively on the African-American Vietnam experience, inspired by Wallace Terry's book, Bloods: An Oral History of the Vietnam War by Black Veterans. We wanted to make our generation's apocalypse now, but focused entirely on the Black experience in Vietnam, Alan Hughes explained in a 1996 interview. When we discovered Kirkland's full story, how he came home to nothing and turned to armed robbery, we realized this was about two wars, Vietnam and the war at home. The masks behind the masks. Remember those haunting white face masks worn during the heist? They weren't just a cinematic choice for shock value. The Hughes brothers designed these masks as a direct homage to Black liberation movements of the late 60s and early 70s. This visual metaphor carried a double meaning, forcing white America to literally see itself in these desperate criminal acts, while commenting on how Black veterans had to wear masks to survive in a society that discarded them after service. What's your interpretation of the white masks? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious to hear what you think they symbolize. The deer hunter connection. Few critics caught it at the time, but Dead Presidents was intentionally structured as a response to The Deer Hunter, Michael Cimino's 1978 Oscar-winning film about white working-class soldiers. The Hughes brothers studied Cimino's film extensively, adapting its three-act structure but reframing it through a Black urban experience. We wanted to do for Black veterans what The Deer Hunter did for white ones, Albert Hughes explained. While The Deer Hunter won 5 Oscars, Dead Presidents was overlooked, a disparity that itself speaks volumes about Hollywood's valuation of these parallel stories. I read The Lost Ending. The film you saw in theaters was not the film the Hughes brothers originally made. Disney, yes, Disney, through their Hollywood Pictures division, forced the brothers to cut nearly 20 minutes from their original cut, primarily from the film's final act. The extended ending showed Anthony's complete psychological deterioration in prison, including hallucinations where he repeatedly relived the Vietnam and heist experiences. Test audiences found these scenes so disturbing that Disney executives demanded they be removed. They told us it was too dark, that audiences wouldn't sit through a 2.5-hour tragedy, Alan Hughes revealed. But that was the whole point, to show how these men were abandoned by the country they served. This lost footage has never been released, not even on special edition DVDs or streaming versions. Aging through trauma. Look closely at Larenz Tate's face when he returns from Vietnam. The subtle transformation is a masterclass in minimal makeup effects. Rather than using heavy prosthetics, the makeup team focused on subtle details, slightly hollowing his cheeks, darkening under his eyes, adding almost imperceptible stress lines. We didn't want him to look different. We wanted him to look worn, the film's makeup designer explained. Veterans don't come home with different faces. They come home with the same face carrying invisible weight. What makes this remarkable is that Tate was only 20 years old during filming, portraying both the teenage Anthony and the war-hardened veteran. If you love Prime Time Throwback and want to keep discovering the hidden stories behind classic crime films, hit that subscribe button right now. We drop new videos uncovering the shocking true stories that Hollywood doesn't want you to know. Guerrilla filmmaking. The chaotic bank heist scene that forms the film's centerpiece wasn't just depicting urban chaos. It was filmed in actual chaos. Parts of the robbery sequence were shot guerrilla-style in Harlem, with extremely limited permits, meaning many bystanders had no idea a movie was being filmed. When Anthony and his crew flee through the streets, many of the shocked expressions you see on bystanders' faces are genuine reactions from people who suddenly found themselves in the middle of what appeared to be armed men in white face masks running from police. We had about 15 minutes to get some of those shots before the real police would show up asking questions, Albert Hughes later admitted. It adds this layer of authentic panic that you can't fake. The music battle and hidden imagery. One of the film's most powerful moments, when Anthony returns home and Al Green's "Tired of Being Alone" plays, almost didn't make the final cut. The Hughes brothers fought a prolonged battle with music rights holders who balked at the licensing cost. That song wasn't just background music, it was practically a character in the film, Alan Hughes recalled. The brothers ultimately won the battle by cutting costs elsewhere, personally giving up a portion of their fee to secure the rights. Did you catch the hidden visual echo throughout the film? The "Black Man Go Home" propaganda posters from Vietnam mysteriously reappear in the background of 3 critical scenes after Anthony returns to America. A subtle reminder that he never truly escaped the war. The controversy. When Dead Presidents was released, it faced criticism from actual Black Vietnam veterans. Several veterans groups publicly criticized the film for what they saw as perpetuating stereotypes about Black veterans turning to crime. Kirkland himself, whose life inspired the story, defended the film. It reflects a lot of brothers' reality, even if it's painful to admit. Not everyone's story, but many of us face those impossible choices. Chris Tucker's hidden genius. Before he became a global superstar in Rush Hour, Chris Tucker delivered one of his most nuanced performances as Skip, Anthony's friend who returns from Vietnam with a devastating heroin addiction. What few people realize is how much of Skip's character was actually Tucker's own creation. Fresh off Friday, Tucker was given unusual freedom to improvise on set. Many of Skip's most memorable lines and mannerisms weren't in the original script, but were created on the spot by Tucker. His improvised line, "I was born by the expletive, I'll die by the expletive," became one of the film's most quoted moments. In the decades since its release, Dead Presidents has been reassessed as more than just a heist film. It's now recognized as one of the most powerful examinations of the Black veteran experience ever committed to film. If this dive uncovered stories you never knew, hit that subscribe button and join the Prime Time Throwback family. Every week, we're bringing you the shocking true stories behind cinema's most iconic crime classics. The final shot of the film, Anthony's face behind prison bars, dissolving into the image of a dollar bill, remains one of cinema's most haunting visual metaphors. A Black man's life, sacrificed first for his country, then imprisoned by it, ultimately reduced to nothing more than the dead presidents he desperately chased.